I'm always amazed at how far I will go, as a matter of principle, to defend something that I believe in at the expense of my own happiness. Let me give you some examples. Recently, we were moving and we were looking for a new apartment, and we found this amazing apartment, one of the first ones we looked at. It has this absolutely beautiful view that I get to look at every single day, a beautiful view of the New York City skyline right outside of my office. However, when we were negotiating rent and payments and whatnot, and we had our background check done, the landlord wanted us to pay a double security deposit. And this was really frustrating to me because I have a credit score that's over 800. I don't understand why I need to pay a double security deposit. And as a matter of principle, I felt like it was nonsense. I had a history of landlords that could attest to me paying my rent on time, and I have wonderful credit. Why should I have to pay a double security deposit? So as a matter of principle, I was ready to give up the apartment and go look for something else to find some landlord that didn't want a double security deposit. However, I stepped back and I asked myself, what do I stand to gain by doing this? What do I stand to lose by doing this? And I realized that this wonderful apartment that I had found with this wonderful view was rare and was likely not to come up again if we continued to look for other apartments. And I realized then that as a matter of principle, sure, I might not want to have to pay this double security deposit when I think I'm the perfect ideal candidate, but I'm willing to pay it so that I can have this wonderful apartment. If I had, though, defended my honor, I might have lost out on a great opportunity. There are other ways that we have a tendency to, or as a matter of principle, defend something we believe in at the expense of our own happiness. Another example of this, a while back, somebody stole one of Jonathan's cameras. He was selling one of his cameras, and it turned out to be a fraudulent transaction through payment online. And the natural tendency was wanting to hunt down this person and find out who they were and somehow get our money back or somehow make the situation right, because it's absolutely wrong what somebody else did. However, after spending a couple of hours trying to figure out what had happened, we realized that the likelihood of recovering anything, the camera or any money, was very slim to none. And we realized that it was better for us to simply move on with our life and accept what had happened and not, as a matter of principle, try and hunt this person down and make things right. There might be other situations. For example, you might have a customer that you're working with in business and you do some work with them, and maybe it's just a little bit of work, but they, for whatever reason, they decide not to pay. Maybe it's a couple $1,000s worth of business that you had done. You can continue to hunt them down month in and month out and try and collect the money that they supposedly owe you, but at what expense? What could you have done with that time to help another customer that might have generated more revenue than the customer that's not paying? Maybe somebody sends an inappropriate email and you feel like you need to do something about this as a manager or owner of a business. And you decide that you need to fire that person as a matter of principle, that we don't send inappropriate emails. But then if you fire somebody, you have to think, then you have to rehire somebody else. You have to train that person. So what is it costing you to get rid of somebody on a matter of principle to then have to find somebody to replace them? And is whatever it's going to cost you really worth it to defend the principle at hand? Or is what they did deplorable and perhaps something that could be worked on in the future, but something that doesn't really garner firing them because of the cost that you'll incur as a result? Anytime you find yourself saying that this is not the right thing, or as a matter of principle, or this shouldn't be the way things are, and then you are going to take action as a result of that, you should first step back and ask yourself a couple of questions. First, ask yourself, what do you hope to gain in defending your honor or defending whatever belief it is that you have? What do you hope to gain? But then also ask yourself, what do you stand to lose? So this apartment, I stood to lose this wonderful apartment in defending my honor to not have to pay a double security deposit. And then once you've answered both of those questions, then you should step back and say, okay, is this worth it? Is my happiness going to be greater at the end of the day by defending my honor or by letting it go? And I think a lot of the time you're going to find out that as a matter of principle is not enough alone to defend your honor, and instead you'll have greater happiness letting something go and moving on to things that actually matter.